everyone, welcome to Married with Wrestling. I'm Susan, and this is Chris.
Did you forget for a second?
I was waiting for you to say it yourself.
Oh, no. I know you're bad with names, but man. We're here to talk about the goings-on this past week of WWE and AEW. WWE, of course, is preparing for another Saturday night's main event and preparing for the Royal Rumble. And AEW is preparing for Grand Slam Australia and Revolution, which happen next month and in March, respectively. So we'll start with discussion of WWE. It's kind of weird. The Bloodline isn't really a focus now that Roman's won it back. We haven't talked to you since, have we done a show since the Raw on Netflix? I can't remember. Did we do one? No, we didn't. The Raw on Netflix is pretty cool. They definitely made a spectacle out of it. The Rock was nice to Cody, which was odd. Roman won his Ula Fala back. CM Punk beat Seth Rollins. But the thing I really liked about the Raw on Netflix was the beginning. Like, the thing that told the story of wrestling with the dude painting. That was really cool.
I thought it was cool.
I have a comic, actually, that's called The History of Professional Wrestling. And I feel like it was like a very condensed version of that. With a painting instead of a comic book. It was pretty cool. But Solo's Bloodline is just kind of doing what they want, attacking who they want. Solo showed back up this week, didn't say anything, and just kind of walked off. And then Jacob Fatu is somehow now in a match with Braun Strowman at Saturday night's main event. That kind of felt like it was like thrown together of, hey, we haven't done this. Because when's the last time we saw Braun Strowman?
It's been a while.
When he killed Carmelo Hayes, probably. Was the last time we saw him.
Yeah.
So that's what's going on with the Bloodline. I really like what Kevin Owens has done since he's turned heel.
Oh, yeah.
I like that he's doing all these illegal moves that you see in AEW every week. But we kind of gave WWE crap for that in the last video, so I won't do it again. But I like the work that he's doing. I really like heel Kevin Owens. I'm glad to see him back because it's been so long since we've seen him.
Yeah.
And he's already kind of planted he planted some seeds this week of what might happen if he comes across Sami Zayn, because he had mentioned to Rey Mysterio, I won the tag titles at WrestleMania with my then best friend Sami Zayn. So he's clearly on the outs with Sami as well, which makes sense. I've seen a couple things online where people have said they'd like to see like Drew and Rollins and Owens all get in a stable of why the hell are you helping Roman against like Cody and everything else. I'm surprised LA Knight hasn't taken up issue with Cody either.
Yeah.
But I kind of feel like an interesting way to go would be if the roster kind of slowly turns on Cody and being like, hey, wait a minute, why did you help the dude that we all helped you beat at Mania?
Yeah.
Like, the story's there, it makes sense. Drew McIntyre's already trying to tell it, even though Drew McIntyre didn't help, but he's still mad.
I know.
So Cody's kind of getting a fight picked with him, too, so it's interesting. We had the debut of Penta this week on Raw.
Yeah.
Welcome Penta. He came over and put on a freaking banger with Chad Gable.
It was good.
Yeah, so much so that Gable went on social media and was like, I feel alive. Like,
good for Gable.
I know, man. Like, Gable can do those bangers, man. I've been a fan of Gable for a long time.
You have, yeah.
Even before the Shorty G stuff. Like, I always pop for Chad Gable. I think he's massively underrated. He's just a smaller Kurt Angle. He's funny enough to be...
I mean, it's starting to catch on that they do the "You Suck" chant.
Yeah, he's kind of inherited that.
Yeah.
The Creed brothers have kind of become his Charlie Haas and Shelton Benjamin. So it's really fun. I love what Gable's doing. I also like what the New Day's doing, where the New Day is kind of the locker room assholes. Like everybody's kind of shunning them.
Yeah.
It's interesting because the New Day are one of those teams that if you would have told me a year ago you were going to turn them heel, I don't know that it would have landed. But they went the right way because everyone loves Big E.
Yeah.
So the fact that like this is all because they were mean to Big E. We haven't seen Big E since this happened.
Yeah.
So I'm really interested to know what the Mania plans are for the New Day. As far as Mania, I have heard that Triple H has said that the main events are set as long as there's no injuries. And I think he said about 60% of the card is set.
Yeah.
So it's the nice part about having consistency and not booking on the fly.
Yeah.
Now, there is one thing that's kind of come up in WWE that you and I have talked about that I want to get your thoughts on. What do you think of the decision of Corey Graves not being on commentary right now?
I mean, I think it's stupid.
Mm-hmm.
They could have gotten rid of somebody else, like that Joe
Tess?
Yeah, they could have put him down somewhere.
See, I think I've seen a lot of that where people were like, well, just get rid of Joe Tess. I have to say, I think, and this is no disrespect, I think Joe Tess is miles better than Kevin Patrick was.
He is.
Like, Joe seems invested. I saw somebody say that Joe Tessitore sounds like a game show host.
He is.
And I can't unhear it.
He's the one person that he's my first thought of who could go, commentator-wise.
Honestly, I think it's just...
I mean, you could get rid of Booker T and put somebody else on NXT. But Booker T and Vic Joseph have good, banter together.
I think the problem that WWE has right now is they're too wealthy in commentary. Because Byron Saxton was a commentator too, and he's not doing that.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of people say... A lot of people have turned on Pat McAfee. They're like, McAfee's just annoying on commentary.
Yeah, he is sometimes. He doesn't really add anything to matches. Like, if anything, he takes away from them. But at the same time, sometimes it's funny. So I don't know. I'm kind of biased because of his connection to WWE. So
I've seen a lot of people say that Corey Graves shouldn't worry because once Michael Cole retires, that's Corey Graves' seat.
Yeah. But that still sucks for him, though.
It does. It does. I do agree with that. And he hasn't been quiet about it on social media. Some people think it's an angle because he's been cleared to wrestle. I've seen people say that, Corey Graves versus Pat McAfee is going to happen at Mania. I don't know. That sounds a little Vince booking-ish to me, to book a match like that. But at the same time, I could see those two really having fun with a program like that if there's not real-life heat between the two of them.
Yeah.
Which... Honestly, if I was Corey Graves, I wouldn't be able to help being a little upset that you brought in Joe Tessitore and you brought in Pat McAfee and you kind of shuffled me out when Netflix just took off.
I agree.
Like, I don't know. I know Triple H likes his two-man commentary teams, but you couldn't have Corey Graves there to offset Pat McAfee.
Yeah.
Unless they really don't get along.
Yeah.
Which is possible.
Yeah.
So WWE is definitely shaping up towards Saturday night's main events on the 25th. We got the Royal Rumble on the 1st. And, man, this Rumble is stacked already.
Yeah.
We've got Rollins. We've got Punk. We've got Reigns. We've got Cena. We've got Mysterio. We've got McIntyre. And that's just what I can think of off the top of my head. I'm pretty sure a couple other people have declared. I think this Rumble's gonna be really, really fun. And it's gonna be interesting because Cody Rhodes is not in it. So...
Yeah.
I keep hearing that The Rock might be in it, but it feels like a lot of people don't know what The Rock's doing because The Rock didn't really keep the story going with Cody. So is he not going to be at Mania? What's going on with that?
I don't know.
But I'm hoping this Rumble is going to be really, really fun because the Triple H Rumbles have been fine, but not really that memorable.
Yeah.
So I would love to see a memorable one this time. I think that's where Triple H's booking has fallen a little short is the Rumbles.
Yeah.
But we'll see. We'll see if he can bring it out of it.
Yeah.
But that's kind of the main stuff going on with WWE right now. So let's switch it over and take a look at what's going on in AEW. Okay, so AEW is still running their story where Jon Moxley kind of has a stranglehold on the world title. This past week, he fought Hobbs in a really good match. I think between this match and the Takeshita match, Hobbs is starting to be able to set himself apart in his wrestling.
Yeah.
I think Hobbs has a lot of potential to be a big star. I don't know if he'll realize it in AEW, and I hate to say that.
Yeah.
I feel
you have, start-stop booking.
You do. I shouldn't... And I feel like I dump on AEW every week. But I shouldn't be watching AEW with the thought in my head of, oh my god, if that person was in NXT, they'd be killing it.
Yeah.
I shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah.
I mean, AEW does have their regular people they book. They have MJF. They have MJF and Jeff Jarrett going at it right now, which on paper doesn't sound that great, but it's actually been pretty fun.
It has been.
Because he's kind of antagonizing Jeff Jarrett and Jeff Jarrett's final run, and Jeff Jarrett's just not taking it, giving it back to him. I've actually, honestly, for the most part, I've enjoyed Jeff Jarrett's work at AEW.
I have too. I used to poo-poo on him a lot, but I haven't minded him.
I like his crew.
Yeah.
I don't quite know what they're doing, but I like that they're so much in each other's corner, whether they're being villains or good guys.
Yeah.
They're there for each other.
Yeah.
Like when Jeff Jarrett was making his announcement, they were teasing a retirement. Like Satnam Singh looked like he was freaking crying. Like
he did.
I kind of thought they would do more with Satnam Singh, but he's kind of. I mean, just him being there's fine.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe that's a little biased because we met him, and he's actually a really, really nice dude.
He is really nice.
He's really huge. He's really huge.
Yes.
Like he had to kneel down to get in a picture with both of us, like almost all the way over.
Yeah.
But I like. Yeah. Speaking of which, Taz is back.
Yes.
Taz is back, and Samoa Joe came back this week.
Yeah.
To help out Hook with Christian Cage.
Yeah.
I think it's safe to say that for you, probably Christian Cage is still the highlight of your AEW viewing.
I do really like him.
Yeah. And his little beat up clipboard for next champ.
Yeah.
Christian Cage is still a treat. Let's see, what else do you got going on in AEW? That's kind of the big story. You've got Ospreay, Kenny Omega's back. So you've got Ospreay and Omega kind of having this uneasy team up.
Yeah.
We kind of teased something with Omega and Okada at not Full Gear. What'd they just do? World's End.
Yes. I was gonna say Full End, and I'm like, that's not right.
That sounds horrible. AEW Full End. That's what a lot of people online are wishing for these days, unfortunately. Is AEW's Full End.
Just don't watch the product.
I know. I'm still in the camp of I know AEW isn't as good as WWE right now, but its existence helps the wrestlers.
Yeah.
Even if they're going there and they're getting stop-start booking, at least their bank accounts are full. I mean, no one has ever complained in AEW about being underpaid.
Yeah. I would go be on a show twice a year to get good money.
Yeah, why not? Why not? We had this week the first women's casino gauntlet. Let's do more of those. Me personally, especially with the way the AEW women go, I'm waiting for the first AEW blood and guts match with the women.
They are so good at their like hardcore matches.
The women,
AEW women,
they are. They bring it.
They do.
Like they can have very violent matches, and especially with Chris Statlander lately, they've been putting on really good matches.
Everybody that wrestles Chris Statlander has a good match.
Yeah, Chris Statlander is kind of starting to emerge as possibly the best wrestler on their women's roster.
That's your opinion, right?
That's my opinion, but man, she's making it hard to argue against it.
Yeah.
Because she's had 2 classics with Mercedes. She had a classic with Willow earlier this year.
Yeah.
She was a standout in the women's gauntlet. Like, Statlander's got it. I could see why Triple H and NXT tried to get Statlander at first.
Yeah.
Because she's got something. I still say let Statlander be the one to dethrone Mariah May. I know we're building for Toni Storm at Grand Slam Australia. Don't give it back to Toni Storm. Don't do that. I think it's time for someone new that hasn't held it yet.
Yeah.
And I would give it to Chris Statlander in a freaking heartbeat. As soon as she lost the second match to Mercedes, what did I say to you?
I don't remember. That was forever
I
ago.
told you that was great. She should go chase Mariah now.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. You get so upset.
I don't remember.
But no, I think we should crown Statlander at maybe Double or Nothing. I think it would be a good place to do it because that's coming up in May. So you could do Toni Storm at Grand Slam. Maybe do a Toni Storm rematch if you really want one at Revolution, or even Julia Hart would be fun, or Jamie Hayter.
Yeah.
But I think at Double or Nothing, you give it to Statlander.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And here's what I would do. I would give it to Statlander, and I'd have Statlander's first feud be with Willow.
Yeah.
Because I need some resolution there. Because the way that was dropped was pretty egregious. It's very Vince McMahon. The way it was just dropped out of nowhere like that.
Yeah.
Statlander and Willow both deserve better for that feud. And Stokely deserves better.
And him. Yeah.
Stokely's gone. I don't know where Stokely is. But I need him to come back on my TV whenever we find him. Please bring him back to the TV.
Yeah.
Honest, straightforward with you guys, we haven't watched a lot of Collision. Because Collision kind of feels like it just kind of happens at this point. I don't really know what else to say other than that. We were watching Collision for a while for the Continental Classic. But you can tell that Collision's just there to kind of provide more content, and there's not really much story advancement going on, except with the TNT title. I know Danny Garcia has it, but I don't know what he's doing with it. And I know Collision would tell me, but that's really the only... That and the Outrunners seems to be the reason to tune into Collision every week.
Yeah.
And even then, the Outrunners are kind of... They're kind of in a... I feel like they're kind of treading water.
Yeah.
Like, they're really hot, but Tony Khan's not really capitalizing on how hot they are, which he's done in the past. See Ricky Starks, see Miro, see, any number of people that aren't on TV, right now. See Penta, who just went to WWE, and his brother does not have very kind words for AEW right now.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's the frustrating part with AEW. AEW has the talent to do as well as WWE. They definitely have the talent. AEW has some of the most talented wrestlers you've ever seen. It's just, I think it's a booking problem for them.
Agreed.
I think it is. Now, the one area I think they are doing well is I'm really digging heel Ricochet.
Yeah.
I am digging heel psychotic Ricochet. I know a lot of people have still poo-pooed his promos, but you know what? I respect the fact that he's doing something completely different. Because he wasn't a heel in WWE at all that I remember.
Yeah.
I don't think he ever was.
I don't know.
And I think Swerve is a good person for him to play off of, especially in the promo game, because if Ricochet goes out there and kind of gives a promo that falls flat, Swerve's talented enough to save it, to save the segment.
Yeah.
And when those two finally do get in the ring and wrestle, which I think is next week, I believe. No, it's when they go to Atlanta. It's two or 3 weeks from now. They're wrestling. I'm really looking forward to that match. I'm really looking forward to their styles. I'm really looking forward to see how they do. I think there's enough time in between that we might get a stipulation added, which could be really fun. Swerve in a stip match is always great. And I'd love to see Ricochet in a stip match, especially a violent stip match. With some of the stuff he can do, I think it'd be really cool to see.
Yeah.
So AEW does have some good stuff going on. They're still falling into habits that they've had. But there is some stuff there worth watching. The Moxley stuff's... I like the Moxley stuff. I don't like that Moxley has to rely so much on the Death Riders cheating. I think Moxley would be more effective in this role if he was just flat out unbeatable. And his crew was only there to mess people up, like, in segments and outside the ring. I don't know that we need Wheeler Yuta running in and interfering in every match. I think Mox as a final boss works better if he's just unbeatable. And Moxley is lost enough, lost so little in AEW, I think it'd be very easy to tell that story.
Yeah.
So, for me, I like it. Little interference heavy, I get it, but, it is what it is at that point. So that's going to kind of do it for AEW. As far as NXT's got some irons in the fire as well. Been cooking since they got to the CW. They had New Year's Evil, which was on before. We haven't done a video since New Year's Evil. But Roxanne's no longer the champ. It's now Julia, which is fine. I think it's fine. Oba is champ, which I called in the video that we never got to do because something came up where I said that Oba should win the Iron Survivor and then beat Trick. We got there. We threw Eddie Thorpe in there too, but we did get there. And I like how Eddie Thorpe is kind of the fly buzzing around Obafemi, kind of just pissing him off here and there. We haven't seen... Trick will be back next week to see how Trick responds. I keep hearing that Trick is main roster bound pretty much imminently. So I think after Mania, we're going to see Trick go to the main roster. Ethan Page is crushing it, which is no one's surprised by. And he's literally crushing people. He messed up Dante Chen's leg. Cedric Alexander's hand. He busted out Javon Evans' teeth. And he got a really cool segment with The Rock at New Year's Evil. Mm-hmm. And The Rock had a lot of really nice things to say about Ethan Page. So I think it's safe to say Ethan Page is probably going to have a pretty nice career in WWE.
Yeah.
Which, good for him, man. Going from barely being on TV to being like, clearly WWE sees something in him is a nice progression for him.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think as far as the main roster, after Mania, I think Trick goes. Roxanne, I think, will go. I'm not sure who else. There doesn't seem to be... Like, last year, there was, like, Breakker and Ilya and Carmelo. Like, it was kind of easy to see who was going to get called up.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I think Trick going up would be good. I think that refreshes the title picture a little bit, and Obafemi could kind of have a run of terror. Honestly, I know if it's not booked right, it gets boring. But I would almost give Obafemi a Shayna Baszler type reign, where he goes almost 2 years without dropping that title.
I don't even see what the big appeal is about Obafemi anyway.
He's a monster.
I don't find him that appealing.
Who do you find more appealing?
People that aren't big monsters.
You just don't like that style of wrestler, though.
I don't.
Like, you're not really into the big, meaty guys wrestling. I don't know who is going to topple Oba. I don't even know if the person who's going to topple Oba's in the company yet at this point, because I think he's going to hold on to it for a while. He's still picking fights with Tony D, but I don't think Tony D is going to beat him. I kind of see some similarities here with Tony D and Obafemi that we saw with Gunther and Sami Zayn. I think Tony D'Angelo is going to go the same route. He's going to beat Oba for the North American, which he did, but he's not going to be able to get the world title from Oba like Sami wasn't able to get it from Gunther. So I'm seeing some similarities there. I've also liked the stuff I've seen online where people have shown where NXT is kind of reliving Shawn Michaels' career with some of the angles they're doing. Yeah. It's like Shawn Michaels is going on a nostalgia trip. But it's fun. It's fun the way they're booking it. They had Ethan Page do the whole I've lost my smile thing that he did, which was a great choice to do that. Especially since his whole thing was he smiled and pointed. So yeah, I think NXT's doing some fun stuff. Andre Chase clearly looks lost / homeless.
Yeah.
Just kind of doing his thing. I like how he's kind of been peppered in the background of just looking like the hopeless dude, while everybody else is around having a decent go of it.
Yeah.
Sean Spears is out there kind of playing a cult leader, trying to recruit people, but what's funny is he's unsuccessful at it. Like, he got Brooks Jensen, and then he got cocky and no one else came with him.
Yeah.
So that's been kind of fun for Sean Spears to do that. But they don't do it in a comedic way. It's just kind of funny to me, the way that it's played out. So yeah, NXT has been cooking as well. So, I mean, I think the 3 wrestling promotions that we cover all have something worth tuning into right now. Mm-hmm. And a story that you could kind of sink your teeth into and follow. AEW be a little tentative because it could change course rather quickly. But, there's still something there worth seeing. WWE, this is their jam, man. From Rumble to Mania, that's their hot stride. Mm-hmm. I got no concerns with what WWE's doing.
No.
And NXT's NXT. It's, you say it every week. It's still consistently your favorite show of the week.
Yeah.
Because of its experimental nature and what's going on and everything, and it's just fun to watch the wrestlers grow. I kind of miss AEW Dark for that reason, because we saw a lot of wrestlers kind of grow up on AEW Dark, and now they're in like big time places like the Acclaimed, and man, do I miss the Guns. I can't wait for the Guns to come back.
Yeah.
Jay White as a solo act is fine, but he's so much better with his crew.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. So that's going to do it for our show this week. Like I've said, there's wrestling out there everywhere. Find something that you could enjoy. You've got NXT, AEW, WWE, MLW, Rev Pro. There's too many to name. Find something that you can sink your teeth into and enjoy. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. It does help us out. Leave a comment below if there's any thoughts that you have about anything coming up with the Royal Rumble or AEW Grand Slam or Revolution, or just anything in general that you want us to hit on with wrestling or that you want to talk about with wrestling. With that being said, we will be back next week to cover Saturday night's main event, as well as everything leading up to the Rumble, because the Rumble's the week after. I'm so excited. I love the Royal Rumble. So we will see you guys next week.
Later.